It's funny because, like there's good technique in everywhere. Like I've noticed that hard work goes with singing, it goes with writing, it goes with acting, like everything you need to put work into. And, I think a lot of people misjudge like, oh, if you just do one thing, you're going to be like this overnight sensation and all that stuff. And I think it's interesting because I actually started out in music. And I think before anything, like I was singing before anything. And I was probably singing at like 1 years old. We have like footage of me like singing along to Disney music and all that stuff. And my aunts would and uncles would give me like microphones and all these like little pop star outfits. So it's just funny because I feel like I always grew up like wanting to do entertainment. And then gymnastics kind of came along and I just loved flipping. Like I had so much energy as a kid and I loved the flips and I loved getting the routines. And so when I started gymnastics, that's kind of when I got a lot more into my head. And I would say, I know when I competed at my best is when I thought I was performing. And so when I would go out into a crowd, I learned a lot about like bringing the theatrical side with me, and the music side to gymnastics. And I think having the balance really helped me in the competitive environment. So I always feel like, for me personally, like a balance it helps. Like right now, I'm doing a lot of music, but like I'm playing golf on the weekends. So it's just like a nice balance of things. But something that, gymnastics has taught me in the industry is discipline and to work hard. And I think the one good thing, that's in my control is like I can control how many vocal lessons I take. I can control like the diet that I have to just really strengthen my voice. And the other thing is too, is when I think about it, like it took me years to become like as good as I could in gymnastics. And right now, I have done singing, I have done acting, but like right now I'm honing in on that talent and it's going to be painful. Like some days are so good in the
Mm,
studio and some days are like, oh my God, I suck.
yeah,
But it's interesting because I went through all that mental stuff in gymnastics, but I was just
yeah,
really young and I forgot what it's like. Now I'm like
yeah,
older and more conscientious
yeah.
about all of
Yeah,
the
well, it's kind of a blessing, and
mistakes.
I feel like I don't know if you agree, but like it could be like a blessing in disguise because like there's a lot of young stars that become super famous
Hmm.
at 15, 16 and all that, and they don't know how to control it because they don't have
Yeah.
the discipline and like the the years of practice that like you've had as an athlete. So I feel like this is probably like a it's probably a good thing that you're like approaching music and arts at this age, right?
Yeah.
But how does it like in terms of like obviously the discipline and like the technique part is one thing, but when you write music, there's a part that's like like being like a good writer, being a good communicator. It's hard to teach. It's not a
Yeah.
precise technique. How do you approach your writing? Like, how do you write songs? How do you kind of like just like make things? How do you
Yeah.
create? You know what I mean? How do you combine like the discipline to the creativity part? And like
Yeah.
does this relate to the songs that you're about to release? With Captain and Tell Me When.
It's funny because I feel like I write whenever I cry. It's just
Hey,
like a nice emotional
that's a line
release.
right there. I lie.
I
I,
know,
I lie when I cry. Yeah, write it down. That's
literally.
definitely a song.
No, but because I picked up a guitar in high school, like I learned basic chords, and a lot of the time when I was writing when I was younger, it would be like chords and just me singing, kind of like all Taylor Swift writing approach, Ed Sheeran kind of writing approach. Now it's really fun because I wanted to add like the dance elements. I wanted to add like the beats, and I get inspired a lot by K-pop with their like
Mhm,
production and all that
mhm,
stuff.
mhm.
And so I've been really fortunate to meet a lot of amazing songwriters and producers recently, and honestly, just watching them and observing them has helped a lot because again, it's kind of like what you said. People who jump in it when they're younger, it's hard. Like you have no guidance. And I was again lucky and fortunate that I grew up with like a mentor my whole life, like being coached and how to approach things. And I think it's really awesome that when I go into the studio, I think they know I'm newer and they know, I'm just getting started, but I have like a great instinct. And I think that's the awesome part is that when we're in the studio, we can like bounce off ideas. And, a lot of the times is the producer will make like a beat and then we kind of just freestyle for like a hot second.
Mhm.
And that's always a lot of fun because it's just kind of vibing out to what we feel in that moment. And some days are different. Like some days we'll approach it like that. Some days I come in with a voice note that I've already written, probably when I was crying. um, And again, like every day, I think that's why I love music is because every day is different and it's such a different approach. It depends who you're writing with and it depends who you're in the room with. And so, but a lot of the time, we come in with like an initial idea and a
Right.
vibe and we kind of roll with it.